What is going on, you guys? It is your boy, the American F1 fan, Eric Ringle here, and today on the channel, we have got the My Team Career Mode. We are starting our own, very own My Team Career Mode in F1 2023, and I've been so excited to finally do this for the channel. And start my own Formula One team and kind of show you, how I'm going to be able to do not only as a driver but as a team owner. So just taking you through some of the menus here. You've got two choices. You got driver and my team. We're going to be doing the my team, so we're going to be creating our own team. So going through this, you have three different choices: newcomer, midfield challenger, or championship contender. Since we're brand new to this game and we're brand new to, doing F1 content like this, the gamer content, we are going to be a newcomer in Formula One. Now, one of the things I will point out straight off the bat is that I am pretty terrible when it comes to this game. I have been in the past one that has been known to, use the assist from time to time. It was, I would use, the braking assist. I wouldn't use the steering assist so much as I would use, the braking assist. I would turn, traction control on fully. I've been really, really bad. And so this, this venture into the game is kind of got two different purposes. So the first is going to be, we're going to be starting our own Formula One team. And then two, I am going to be literally playing this game at a difficulty I rarely ever play it at, which is no braking assist. I'm going to be using automatic gears, and I'll show you when we go through the settings. But we basically just kind of went through the custom settings here. I'm going to show you the assist so you guys can see it. I've customized it. The steering assist is off. Braking assist is off. Analog brakes is on. Traction control is at full, because I will be totally honest with you. I have tried without the braking assist on and trying to have traction control off, and I am god-awful on the controller. And that's the other thing, is I don't have a steering wheel and pedals like some of your other Formula One content creators. I am doing this strictly on the remote control. So I'm going to have pit assist on. I'm going to have the gearbox on automatic for now. AI difficulty, I decided to set it at 75. So this is going to be difficult for me. Yes, there are YouTubers that are at 110, AI difficulty. I'm going at where I feel comfortable enough to start at, which is 75. When I would use the braking assist, I would be upwards of 80 to 90. But I'm going with 75 here. And we are going to be going full, practice qualifying format, and then we're going to be doing the long race, which is the 50% races. That obviously opens us up for differing strategies. Obviously with red flags being back in the game, that'll open us up for a lot of stuff. So that that's why we're going for 50% races. So we're going to have driver moves on, facility management, and R&D management is all going to be under my control. The rules and flags are on. The corner cutting stringency is set on regular for now, but obviously as we get, further and further into this series and, I start to get better, or maybe I move to a wheel and pedals, that may change a lot more. So, but everything's pretty much going to stay the same as far as that goes. Now, talking about flashbacks, one of the things I have put a very stringent on this, and I've set the setting, and you can see it here. There will be no flashbacks here. So a guy, basically getting used to, gas and, running the gas and brake on the controller himself it, typically you could go back, rewind it, and do it all right. I am basically making it so that if I, miss a breaking point and wreck into somebody, I'm out of the race. Like that is the way I want this to be. So, just kind of changing a couple of other options. I'm going to turn it for future on this. I'm going to turn that setting up a little bit because I know this may be a little bit quiet when it comes to some of the talking and some of the the other stuff. So just making you fully aware of that for future. So we've got the choice if we want to use the My Team icons. We are going to use that at some point in here. So just be aware of that. So we could see those coming into the team at some point in time. But let's get on into, we're going to create my driver now. So I'll kind of walk you through, kind of why I, chose some of the settings I did here.
Welcome to My Team. Here you'll experience the world of Formula One not only as a driver, but as the owner of a brand new F1 team. First things first, let's create your driver.
So obviously creating the driver here first, just kind of walking you through, and I'm doing all of these post commentary as well. So obviously I'm from the United States of America, gonna have a U.S. driver on the grid in Formula One, so that I'm really excited about. Just going through here, selecting some of the faces, and so this first video will be a little bit longer as we walk through, obviously creating my driver and then creating the car itself. So just walking through here, trying to figure out what face I wanted to have for my driver. I'm kind of a 5 o'clock shadow guy, so you'll see me go back here up to the top, and I'm gonna. Gentlemen, unfortunately, they don't have the bleach. You can't see bleach blonde hair, but I go with the 5 o'clock shadow guy, which is, I believe, this guy. Yeah, this guy right here is the one I ended up selecting. So 5 o'clock shadow guy. We'll get more into the, the creation. Obviously, my name. Bringing this up, Eric Ringle is going to be my name in the game. And this is my one complaint. I think if I were to have any complaint with the Formula One game is when you go to choose your recorded name, how do they not have Eric as one of the recorded names that you can basically use? Like, they have some of the most generic names on there that you could possibly think of, but they don't have Eric, which stinks. So went through here in a prior game before I started recording this for YouTube. I used the recorded name of Hollywood, so that's what I ended up choosing here as well. I mean, it just does suck that they don't have Eric here, which is it should have been at least somewhat easy. So I scrolled down, find the name Hollywood. I like to have fun with this, and Hollywood is kind of my way of having a little bit of fun with this. So
Hollywood.
So moving on. So that's now my recorded name. Now I'm going to go into choosing my number, and I could have chosen, one of the smaller numbers, but in sports, I had a couple different numbers that were my favorite. My favorite right now, though, is 91. And I was a big Dennis Rodman fan when he was with the Chicago Bulls and when he was in the NBA. Love the fact that he
just focus on your driver's look.
Chose the number, 91. It was just an out there number, and I just loved it. So I chose 91 within the game.
let's set up some of the key details of your new team.
So now we're into actually creating the team itself. So
Start with an easy one. What name would you like to give the team?
So going into this, I wanted to, kind of incorporate the channel, into my team name. So as you're going to see here in just a moment, you're going to see me I went with American F1 Motorsport. Like I said, I like the incorporating the channel name within this, which is, kind of my, it's just my identity here on YouTube. And then I was, in between using Autosport and Motorsport, I ended up going with Motorsport here. It's one of those things that I don't think that necessarily the team name was going to matter too much. Like I said, I did want to have American F1 in there. And so I'm excited to bring a second basically American Formula One team to the grid. We may or may not get Andretti Autosport.
Nice.
So I'm going to be the one to join the F1 grid from the United States. So going into signing a sponsor for the team. So this was, I had to really think hard about this.
Pay a sign-in bonus to the team up front. This is vital to cover the early investments we need to make. They'll also provide a valuable retail income for us. Each sponsor has a goal they want the team to achieve. If we hit that goal, the sponsor will pay us an additional goal bonus.
So just scrolling through some of the different primary sponsors on the car, I was looking at weekly income, how much the weekly income was going to be, what the goal bonus was, what the signing bonus was, and legitimately how difficult the goal was going to be to get. And I started to look at more and more at Monnery Paris as kind of the go-to, because it's got a $4.25 million signing bonus, so we get $4.25 million up front. Only asking us to get 15 Constructors' Championship points in the season. So if we hit that goal, we get $3.3 million at the end of the season. And the income was really high on a weekly basis, almost $79,000. I could have gone for Sarin, but literally the signing bonus wasn't as high. The goal bonus wasn't going to be as high at the end of the season. And I felt like with Monnery, I was going to, 15 Constructors' Championship points was going to be a little bit more attainable for this season, as the season progresses on. So now moving on to the engine supplier. So now
we need both performance and durability from our power units, but we also need to balance the books. We're going to have a lot of other areas to invest our cash into.
So now, walking through this, I one of the things I knew off the bat, I didn't want to touch the Renault engine. Just looking at the stats, the Renault engine is literally 3 behind the Mercedes, and their durability is just absolutely garbage. Ferrari, they have great performance on their engines, but their durability sucks. I could have gone with Mercedes, which is the best engine on the grid, but literally looking at the contract costs, it would have cost us $3.5 million. So in the end, I decided to go with Red Bull powertrains. Now, got a great looking performance on the engine. The durability is up there. So I really felt like that was putting myself in a good spot. Now, choosing my second driver. This one, I was really trying to figure out which driver I wanted to go with. I had a good idea in my mind of who I wanted to go with here, and whether or not he was going to be on this list. And he was. Just the guy that I end up selecting here is going to be Felipe Drugovich. Obviously he's the reserve driver at Aston Martin right now. But comparing, his focus, his pace, he's got some high awareness. Yeah, I could have gone with Marino Sato. he had like 74 awareness, which was amazing. But his experience was low. His racecraft was a little low, showing at a 61 rating. I wanted to bring somebody into the team, that was going to have a decent enough rating, decent enough focus that, could potentially fight for points when I'm not necessarily, maybe right there to fight to get in top 10, especially, at the very beginning of the season, getting used to trying to break on my own, putting it on the gas on my own. Like, we're going to go through some growing pains as a team with me as one of the drivers and me not being as good of a driver. So I'm, yeah, it's going to be hard. So, we're going to zip past this because I want the livery to be a surprise to you guys. So let's move on to the interview and livery portion.
New year, new drivers, new team. Welcome and great to have you with us as we move far away from the paddock to the headquarters of the newest outfit on the Formula One grid. We've been granted exclusive access with an interview not just with the team owner or the star driver, but both. Because for the first time in modern F1 history, the team owner is behind the wheel themselves. Now is a great time to bring a new team into the sport, particularly off the back of such compelling competition last year. 2022 saw huge regulation changes, and it was Red Bull who came out on top in the development race. But that was last year. This year could be a very different story. Let me tell you, this facility is an absolute hive of activity, and there is a palpable sense of excitement around the car they've built. Quietly, they truly believe they can challenge at the top, and they've had the time now to craft a hugely competitive race car. But theory is one thing, and taking on the brightest lights in motorsport is quite another. So how does the owner of F1's 11th team feel as they prepare to be thrust into the limelight of the F1 circus? New driver lineups, Qatar returns, Las Vegas debuts, and the engineering race continues to push the sport and the drivers to new heights. What are they aiming for? Most excited about? Most nervous for? Well, soon we will meet them to find out. But first, let's take a look at the...
And you can see, I'll get more into it after the interview.
Question that everyone is asking. It's been a long time since we've seen a team owner drive their own car, and a lot's changed since then. The sport has really evolved. So how are you going to manage the responsibility of doing both roles?
So just a couple questions here that, the first one or two don't really do a whole bunch to what your team is going to be or going to do in the future. I'm a team guy when it comes to all of this. So I just said it just isn't all about me. This is, it's a team effort here. So, and then obviously I wanted to talk up the second drive, with Felipe. It's not, that it was tough to find drivers or it was finding the right fit for the team. I really felt like their skill set was going to suit our team. It's a guy that literally, won the championship the year before, really showed that he can drive the car. And so, in reality, his skill sets will really suit our team as he's a guy that has won championships and could potentially do it here.
Work on the car. It's really a blank canvas. You've done a lot.
So now getting into these questions, this is what's really going to affect, what facilities are getting, spec one, what we're going to focus on. So now remember, I chose the Red Bull powertrain, which has got some decent power to it. So my thought process going into this was I really wanted to, develop the chassis department and the aero department. So a lot of these questions with the answers that I end up giving were answers that were going to help the chassis and aero department. So, with the blank canvas here, I ended up choosing, the aero department. I believe I said making the car, the chassis. I chose the chassis here on that very first question. And then I get more into the aero the next two questions, if I remember correctly. I'm doing post commentary on this, so you'll have to forgive me for not remembering what answer I gave. But I believe if I went for the aero for the next two questions, the thing is like I said, engine power. I'm set there right now, and obviously we're going to develop that as the season progresses. But it's now getting, because as a newcomer, your chassis is like, you're literally as low as it goes. You're actually even lower than Haas, and when we get to the screen where we finally kind of start taking a look at the team, you'll kind of see what I was talking about there. But like I said, I went with another aero answer here. Working on the aero department. I really want, it not to be all based on the engine creating the speed. I want us to be able to, have lower wing settings, on the front and back, front and rear, that'll make our car fast, and not necessarily the engine. So I want my aero department to be, kind of the main focus, and chassis is going to be second focus. And then obviously later on down the line, we can, we'll get upgrades from Red Bull, throughout the season. We'll really, I think, be able to develop the engine through the team itself, through Red Bull basically upgrading that engine. So I'm really excited to really set up the chassis and aero departments basically in all of this. So now we're finally on the team screen. You guys finally get the chance to see the car for the first time. It's weird, the way they did it last year, that you really got a chance to get a look at the car. So just looking at it, I went for an all metallic finish. I really love that metallic color. And like I said, I tried to stick with the red, the yellow, and the black, kind of keeping, black as being my, primary color, and then, having the really good accents of yellow and red. And that may change as we go throughout the season. It's one of those that I just, for right now, I liked the livery, and we may get other liveries as time goes on. But we're going to go with that for right now. So now moving on to team activities, going to set up our calendar, to start off before we go into Bahrain. So this is going to be its own separate video, and then we're going to have the Bahrain weekend. So one of the things going into the beginning of the season, I was very torn on whether or not I wanted to have a driver training camp, which would have given +3 to all, to all of our, experience racecraft and all of that. And you're going to be able to see through here going through this. I was so torn on what I wanted to do, because I knew that, I knew my second driver needed some more stats to better him up, but I also know that we need money as a newcomer to be able to open up facilities, start getting spec 1 on the aero and the chassis, and and all those departments. I really felt like we needed to get money into our pocket as soon as possible. And then also, I really wanted to focus on, again, I was torn again here between power and durability, or aero and chassis, but right now, those are going to be my main focus when it comes to upgrades coming to the car. I'm going to be going for aero and chassis upgrades first before I start looking at power and durability. So that's why I wanted to focus, to do the aero and chassis focus there and really kind of, solidify what I was going to be able to work with on my car. And then just going through here, just going through some of the same emails that we get on a weekly basis. So now this is looking at the spec of each facility. Chassis is the one that gets set at spec 1. Then, obviously none of the other departments have any kind of spec at all. So we're going to have to make money and have to make it fast to be able to open up some more of these facilities to get them to spec 1. So, just taking a quick last look here, kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do, the first set of upgrades I wanted to do. So just running through here, you're going to see me run through. I'm going to kind of just let you look to see what I started working on. My first upgrade here was going to be, doing a minor weight redistribution. Doing this first upgrade here, which was the rear floor under tray. Decided to go ahead and do that, spend 550 resource points there. That literally opened me up to not being able to do anything else. As you can see there, we are second from the bottom as far as the chassis goes. Haas is the worst, but even with this one upgrade, it will put us up with Williams and some of the other midfield teams. But obviously spending that 550 points literally, basically made it to where I could not spend, in anywhere else, in this first get-go. So you're going to see that I fast forward through time here to get more resource points, to really, focus on, to the aero and a little bit more to the chassis department as well. So just, moving through time, got another 600 resource points. Wanted to see what else I could get on before the first race in Bahrain. It looks like we're only going to be able to get one upgrade on in time, just before Bahrain, which, it's okay. I would have liked to have gotten another one. But, so be it. It's not the end of the world. This is the long game. We want to be able to get a car that is, it's going to improve over time. So just fast forwarding again through here, you're going to see there at the very bottom of the calendar, we're going to have an upgrade coming in. But we go back in, we get another set of points. I looked at recommended upgrade. They told me to upgrade the gearbox durability. I didn't see that as kind of a need for this very first set of upgrades. I really wanted to work on the aero and the chassis. So this time I focused on the aero, since obviously my chassis, I've got the 2 parts that are working there to upgrade. So in the grand scheme of things, I thought let's go with DRS when looking at the aerodynamics. Let's go with DRS, widen it, and you'll see which one I go with here, the maximum slot gap. So this slot gap, it'll be a little bit open a little bit further, but we're already middle of the pack when it comes to the aero side of things. So, adding this will put us a little bit closer to, some of the top teams. So I went with the maximum slot gap. It was just, I now need to start focusing, with chassis having, that all kind of ready to go. And, got a bunch of upgrades there. It was time to move on to aero. So now moving on to the race weekend, we're going to pause it there, though. This was the very first video. So guys, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think I need to do more of, what you guys think I need to change, is there, some upgrades that you think I need to start looking at as well? Guys, let me know that in the comment section down below. Guys, as always, slap a like on all my Formula One videos. It will really help it to get out there to more and more Formula One fans. It would mean the absolute world. So slap a like and subscribe to my channel if you guys are new. For more daily and weekly Formula One content, we're going to be going back to live streaming race weekends, and I'm sorry for the long delay. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and guys, for the American F1 fan, I'm Eric Ringel, signing off.